And we're back. Hi, everybody.
Huh?
Welcome to our latest live stream. We do have a special guest. We'll talk about that in a second. But everyone, well, I won't say everyone because I'm not that freaking fabulous. I was going to say everyone knows me, but maybe you don't. Uh, I'm the freaking fabulous Cat Corchado. You know me as a proud military veteran, which prompted me to start the Sisters in Service podcast, where we get to speak about those things that happen to all of us in service and after service. I'm also a movement specialist where I was able to start my business of small space Pilates because I think everyone has the right to feel good in their bodies. With that said, what is Salty Sisters? Who is Salty Sisters? Well, you see my co-host here, Yvonne Marchese, and I are very close in how we approach midlife. You know, she talks about making midlife fun, which she'll talk about. And I felt as though midlife women have that opportunity to feel good in their bodies. And we decided to collaborate because Salty Sisters means that we've been around the block and we still look freaking fabulous, by the way. But we've learned some things along the way and some things we still don't know. And we thought, wow, if we're going through this, why don't we collaborate and do something called Salty Sisters, where we get to speak about all of the things that happen to us in midlife? And so, Yvonne, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, I'm Yvonne Marchese. I'm an age agitator. I do that as the host of the Late Bloomer Living podcast and the Age Agitators Club for Women, where we are making waves as we age. We meet once a month and delve into how to age with some curiosity and some playfulness. And so that is my current obsession, is how to be playful about aging, because otherwise you just get that feeling that it's all downhill, man. I love partnering with I don't know which way to point, the freaking fabulous Cat Corchado. Just love being with Kat all the time. We decided to do this thing called Salty Sisters, and it started off as a once a month thing, just the two of us. And now we are expanding. We're 2 times a month, and we are starting to have guests on. I'm so excited to have Jill Dunn here today because it's Love Month. Soon will be. I don't know. It should be Love Month all the time, is my point. Like, there's this thing called Valentine's Day. I'm a little anti Valentine's Day, I got to tell you. And one of the reasons is that a lot of people, I feel like it's a trigger holiday for so many people who aren't in romantic relationships. And it's this, greeting card holiday. And I think it brings up a lot of stuff for people. And even if you are in a relationship, maybe things aren't going so well, or maybe you just don't, for me, I just don't want to be forced into going, I love you, honey. Here's some chocolates and a card to show you that I love you. So I have a lot of conflicted feelings about the month of love of February. And I want to talk about like like loving ourselves. What does it mean? And particularly today, having Jill Dunn on. Jill is a matchmaker. She is the founder of Jillinit. It's a premier professional matchmaking service that is dedicated to uniting hearts and souls. Jill has been doing events in the town where I live, in Norwalk, Connecticut, and around Fairfield County, right, Jill?
Yeah.
Helping people make those love connections. And she is expanding her services and her offerings. And she's become quite the expert on what it's like to be dating in midlife. I would say, do you identify as midlife, Jill? I have to ask you that first.
Yet, not quite
No,
yet.
Not quite yet. So
Yeah.
midlife for me is a broad swath. When I look, I'm 55 now. And when I look back on it, I realized that I was really starting my journey into midlife at about the time I turned 35. And certainly in my 40s, I look at it now and I'm like, oh, I was in the middle of life right there. So for me, it was then. For a lot of people, it feels like a lot later. Some people are 70, 80 and still going, I'm in midlife, you
Mhm.
know? But dating is tricky and it gets harder as you get older, I believe. But Jill, I'm going to pass the mic to you to let us know a little bit about what you've been observing as you've been helping people through the process.
Sure. So, well, thanks both of you for having me. I'm really excited about it. And I mean, there's so many things I want to say, but, and also we have very differing opinions on Valentine's Day, but, which is fine. We can have differing opinions. I think it's just a great opportunity to celebrate love. And I encourage people who are not in a relationship to, don't focus on, there are so many people who love you. So don't focus on the people who don't, right? So this is just a good opportunity to celebrate the little glimmers of love that are in your life, the people that are in your life. And so, but of course, a romantic partner is a huge part of everybody's life, right? And so, just a little background on me, I guess I started my work because I got divorced and I was, in my mid 30s and I had been married for 10 years and I had two small kids and I'm emerging from a marriage with, just like a blank space. And I always say this to new clients, I wish that I had me when I first entered this space or someone like me, because it just was this vast, wide unknown, like how to date. What do I even like? Who do I even like? I was with my ex-husband, starting in my early 20s. And so I didn't even know who I was then. So I'm emerging from this as a totally different woman. And, that was 8 years ago. And again, I'm a totally different woman, right? So we're always evolving. And so I think that's part of the beauty, and I really feel honored to get to do the work that I do with single people. That's part of the beauty in it, is really meeting people where they are and understanding a lot of where they are because of my own experiences. So I think that helps people really feel comfortable with me and connected with me, because I've been there. Like, we are on the same path together. So, and there are different challenges at different ages. There's definitely, say singles in their, 30s or early 40s who are really want to have a family and haven't found the person to have it with, right? Or there's a whole nother set of singles with a different, problem where they're getting divorced in their 40s and they're not finding quality people, and they're, people are just looking for different things. So everybody's at different places. And then I also work with singles in their 60s and 70s. And, for everybody, there's a different set of challenges. And, but ultimately, the overlying theme is that everybody just wants to be loved, love and be loved, find connection, and just feel like you're a part of something, that there's a witness to your life, right? And so I think that, the most valuable thing I can share is that there is so much good news surrounding this right now. And I'll tell you, there's a major
What's
shift.
the good news? I love hearing that.
This is very exciting. So the best news is, and I will say this is like within the last 3 months, I am overwhelmingly seeing and hearing from single people. I talk to dozens of single people throughout the course of a week, new people that I'm interviewing for clients, or new clients that are coming in, or, singles that I'm meeting at my events, dating coaching, all kinds of different people, different ages, different walks of life. And overwhelmingly, here's the good news. Overwhelmingly, the shift has been that people want connection, again, real heart connection. They're not just looking for someone's height or their income, or, this instant gratification swipe culture. People are over it. And I think, especially after COVID, I think that's part of the sort of the mixture here that's really bringing people back down, like their feet back to the ground, right? Because for so long, there was, this huge technology push, even pre-COVID, everybody's online to meet people, to buy things, to, everything. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being online. Like, I like to be with people. Not everybody does, but I really like to be with people. And, yes, I love Amazon Prime for all the reasons everybody else does. But I also love going into a store and talking to a person and feeling human connection, right? And putting my hands on something that I want to take home with me. So the same is true for, the singles that I'm talking to, that I'm, that are really open to true connection. They're not focusing on check boxes and algorithms and one, one split second where you see someone's photo on a dating app that decides your future with them. People are letting it go. They're dropping it. They're looking for something deeper, and they're really open to just letting those things go. And it really excites me. I guess I'm like a nerd about love, but it really excites me when I have these conversations with people. Almost everybody I talk to they're just dropping it. They're just like, you know what, Phil, is give me the real stuff. Like, I want to really feel it. They're open for redirection and open for true connection. So that's
Can I?
What? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Kat.
No, I was just going to say that I feel a little differently than Yvonne does about Valentine's Day, only because I'm going to be celebrating my 30th wedding anniversary on February 14th. And I also feel, though, that, it's not just the only day that you show love, that you should be showing love throughout in different ways, but it's a little extra to show someone that you're with, that they're special and all this other stuff. But how prevalent is it? When I was dating, women tend to have this picture in their mind of the person they should be with.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm supposed to be with a person who played sports, not necessarily professionally, but all this other stuff. And I married a really, really cute nerd. And only because I got rid of the picture and because I started connecting and saying, wow, I really, really like this person. Is that prevalent still, or has it changed completely because of, the internet and dating apps and all this other stuff?
I think for a while, that was what I was seeing. I mean, people only cared about these big, these points, their height, what they're, these big things that really are not big things. It's like the way that you feel, like my grandparents met, when they were teenagers, right? They had a feeling about each other. They saw each other in person, right? So if I am looking at a person, one photo of a person who meets my age and geographical requirements, there's no feeling. You don't get a feeling from that. So dropping that other stuff and, just saying like, it doesn't, yes, I have this idea what somebody I might end up with. Look, I did that and I was married for 10 years and I'm not married anymore. And so, you just have no idea until you feel someone. And that's why, the work that I do, I feel like is so important to really help people. I'm like, you leave it to me. And by the time you're on a first date with someone, your only job is to see how it feels. It's not about, whether or not they play sports or if they meet this picture. We sift away the other stuff and it's just like a vibe check. It makes all the difference, which is what it should be when you find someone.
Yes,
How does it-
absolutely. Yeah,
What
the
are
vibe, all of that. I'm sorry, Yvonne, go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was just wondering, so if you're seeing this shift, and if is it a shift away from the dating apps? And if so, how can people meet other people? Like, what are you seeing as ways that people are doing it as an alternative, or you know?
So I think, yeah, overwhelmingly people are burnt out on dating apps. They're sick of being on their phone. They're sick of being on a computer in general, right? But also the dating apps and look, they're great. They definitely, a lot of people have met that way, but I always equate it to like a slot machine. It's like making a good match on a dating app is like hitting triple sevens. Like it happens, but not always. And so it's just one more opportunity to meet people. So even when I have active clients, I am, stay on Bumble if you want. It's just one more, we're casting a wide net, meeting as many single people as we can when you're in this like phase of life with me. It's like I'm a personal trainer, but for your dating life. And so that's just one opportunity. Other ways, people are coming. I host singles events in and around Fairfield County, Connecticut. There's singles events all over the country. So wherever you are, go on Meetup, go on Eventbrite. I always encourage clients also to do things that are not even necessarily centered on meeting single people. Just do things that you enjoy. Like want to take a dance class, or if you're really into poker, like go on Meetup, join a poker group, and then you'll be with people that are like-minded. And, and another to that point, creating the life that you want to live with a partner when you are solo is it. You just do that. Don't wait for your partner to save enough money or to lose 10 pounds or to go on that trip. Like, just go, just do your stuff. And then when somebody comes along, then you are the partner that you want to be. And you're not waiting around. You're not resentful. You're not angry. You're not wasting time. You're just living your life. And when someone cool comes in and is worthy of your space, then there they are, and it's all good. So it's just like, I encourage people to go meetups, go out, talk to people. That's another huge tip, right? It may seem simple, but where everybody is on their phone all the time and everybody is afraid to talk to other people and nobody knows how they're going to be received in public. If they're, men are terrified to approach women now, really, but women overwhelmingly want to be approached, right? I don't want to have to do it.
Well, there's a dilemma, huh? So, right? So for the men who are terrified to approach a woman, what are you seeing happening there? Like, can you speak a little bit more to that? What's going on for them?
So actually, I was just having a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, and I said, listen, your homework between now and next week when we talk is talk to 3 women at the grocery store or wherever you are this weekend, right? There are people everywhere. And he said, I don't want to get hit with an umbrella this weekend. And I said, do you really think that if you approach a woman, she's going to hit you with an umbrella? And he's like, yeah, I do. I really do. Like, so men are so terrified to approach, right? And so this is why I'm like, this is part of my mission to just get the word out. Like, for women, if you want to be approached, act like you want to be approached. Smile, make eye contact, take your hood down, don't look at your phone, look at the world, look up. Like I tell my kids 100 times a day, look up. It's, if someone is like this, they are closed for business. But, and even whether or not you're single, I don't know. I'm a people person. I like to talk to people. So when I'm in the grocery store, I'm like smiling and talking to people like, oh, these are nice apples. It's like, I just talk to people and it makes people feel good. But when you're like, not always, sometimes I'm like, leave me alone. But, for the most part, I think that is where the shift has to happen. And I read somewhere once about there's like a psychological tipping point where a man has to receive 8 cues that you are open to communication from them. 8. And so
that's a very similar statistic to marketing. You need to be like touch base with people like 7 to 8 times for people to go, oh.
Yes.
And so that's so interesting that's the similar number. What's
So
that about?
It's like, being open, not this. Like being open.
I wonder what would happen if everybody just started talking to everybody at the grocery store instead of saying just talking to 3 women. What if they had the challenge of, okay, go talk to 20, your assignment is to talk to 20 people in the grocery store this week,
Yeah.
Kids, married people, other dudes, like just to like get past. How does an introvert, oh my gosh, I'm slapping things. How does an introvert deal with this?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's why people hire me for coaching, because it's baby steps, it's like just, and then some, for some people, that's just an absolute no, like no
Mm-hmm.
way I'm talking to a stranger this weekend. Give me something else, because I'm not doing that. And I'm like, okay, we'll do something else, And in that case, sometimes it is better to start online, or in groups. Like I have a meetup group, Single Sparks meetup group. I have a Facebook group. There's singles groups. There's interest groups. There's so many ways that you can connect with people. And Meetup is a great resource for it. And so is Eventbrite. You just do a search for something that you're interested in, go there, and then you'll have common interests with the people that are there. And even at my singles events, it's not always there's connections made at every event, but it's not always a man and a woman who are going to be husband and wife. It's, two guys that become friends, and then one ends up introducing the other to his sister. Or
Oh, yeah, because like, really, that's how we met people when we were younger and in school, right? So
yeah,
many times your friend group ends up being like, you just show up somewhere and some person they know is there, and you're like, "Oh, hi." Yeah,
so it's just
Jill,
interesting.
I have a question.
yeah.
What is one common mistake do you see that women make when they're trying to get out there and date? Do you see a common thread, or does it depend on the person?
Well, I think it depends. There's a lot of variables depending on where, I'd say like women in their 30s who are really looking for someone to have a family with. I think the biggest mistake is just like laying, like, you meet somebody and immediately you're like, do you want kids? How many kids? You want to
What?
what's your net worth? I mean, it's just like this, and then men are
And the guy is like,
yeah,
Whoa.
he just
"See
disappears.
ya."
Like he's just like vanishes. So that is a huge, huge mistake. And then, I mean, I guess along the same lines, women in different stages of life. I have several clients that are in their 60s. One is widowed, one is divorced for 20 years, and they're both just sort of getting back out there. And I'd say the biggest, I don't want to call it a mistake, but the biggest interruption in them, between them and finding somebody that they want, is that it's hard to not recreate what you had in the past, right? When that happened so organically, and when that happened, at this different stage in your life. So it's really about, I always tell people, it's less about finding someone your age and more about finding someone in your stage, because we just
Mm.
want someone in the same stage of life as us who, like if I'm 43, I have a 15, my son's almost 15, my daughter's 12. Dating somebody with newborn might be a little, I mean, maybe, but having someone around the same stage as me is much more appealing, who gets where I am and I get where they are. And the same would be true for, single women in their 60s and 70s and 20s and 30s, just in your stage.
I think that's
Mhm.
interesting you said that, because I am significantly older than my husband, but we were at the same stage, because we were dating, and you know how you just casually say, "Oh, when's your birthday?" And he told me, and I went, "Oh, okay." And at that point, we were just dating. I said, "We're having fun." So I'm actually 11 years older than my husband.
Interesting. And you know what's funny? I am 15 years younger than my ex-husband, and my mother was only 2 years older than him. So that was a weird thing. But I was in total denial about his age. Like, even to when we went to town hall to get our marriage license, they said his age, and I was like, no, that's not right. That's not it. And he was like, yes, it is, Jed. I was like, blah, blah, blah,
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Do you have people I imagine this might happen for a lot of people, but do you have people, especially if you're helping somebody who's on the older end of the spectrum, do they feel like uh is there a sense of like it's too late? Well, I guess they wouldn't come to you if they were hopeless, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they think, and you're reminding me of this wonderful woman I'm working with who's 68, and I just love her, and it is my life's mission to complete this for her because she is everything. I adore her. And and she just says, you know what, actually never mind, because it's impossible. There's no way. We're looking for a unicorn. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm a unicorn hunter. It's fine. Like we can do this. But yeah, they at some point, you just think like, oh, there's no way I'll ever find that. Especially, working with widows definitely it's a special place because you're not 42 trying to replace your ex-husband who cheated on you, who was a big jerk. It's like, this was a beautiful marriage that can never be replaced. So it's just embarking on this new sort of outlook on relationship where now we're just looking for a companion, somebody who we are proud of and we want to spend our time with and we can laugh with and enjoy life together because we're still alive.
Jill, when you talk to someone in the very beginning, have you ever gotten a sense of, I'm not sure I can help this person? Or do you go into it going, I can help everybody?
I can't help everybody. I wish I could, but I can't help people who can't help themselves. And, I do not work with everybody. There is an interview process on both ends. And I always tell people, like, your first match is with your matchmaker. We have to click because we are so close. We talk all the time. And I value the joy in my life. And I love what I do. And there's no way that I would embark on a 4 or 6 or 12-month journey with somebody
Mm.
that it wasn't a match with, just like I wouldn't in somebody that I was dating. I'm not here for it. I just want to enjoy my life. So fortunately, I am part of a national matchmakers alliance group where I'm able to collaborate and network with other matchmakers really from all over the world. And just like, there's a match for everybody, there's a great partner for everybody, there's a matchmaker for everybody. So I am more than happy, if I don't vibe with a potential client, to refer them to somebody who is better suited for them.
That's so interesting. So now I have questions about the whole matchmaking process. So if you're part of an alliance, I know that when you started out, you were doing a lot of singles events. And from what you told me, it was because you were looking around for singles events and couldn't find any in the area. And so you were like, what the heck? I'm just going to do this myself.
Yeah.
Which I love that approach. And that's just who you are. And the way you are is like very can do, right? I'm going to make this happen. So now, though, you're a matchmaker. It's like that one step beyond hosting events and just bringing together whoever shows up, right? This is much more intentional.
Yeah.
Are you serving people outside of the Fairfield County area now? And do you ever network with other matchmakers to say, well, I've got this client in Cincinnati, Ohio. Do you have anybody in Cincinnati, Ohio? Like, does that ever happen?
Oh yeah. There are people that find me from all over the country. And, some people, they need a more, localized approach. So, for the most part, my clients will be in Connecticut or New York, Boston, maybe, but typically Connecticut, New York. And, but definitely when people find me, like I said, if I can't help them, then I know a matchmaker who can, as part of this alliance. And, to your point, when I first got divorced, I was looking for ways to meet single people. I couldn't find any events around here. And at the time, my kids were only going to their dad's house one night a week. And I was like, I need to really use this time wisely. And so I threw a singles event and it sold out. And people were like, thank you so much. We needed this. And then so I did another one a couple weeks later and it was like, whoosh, just like people were like, yes, need this. And I was like, okay, wait, we're on to something here. And this was, 5 years and 56 events ago, I think it was.
Wow.
And Yeah, so I've done them almost every month, even throughout COVID, pivoted to online and, so, and I think over the years, my business and my offerings, my knowledge, everything, my resources obviously have evolved. And so I think I used to, the matchmaking started organically because I was just connecting a man that I met in one town to a woman I met in another town. Like, I think you guys might like each other. Here's each other's email. And then as time went on, I was like, well, actually, are you looking to have kids? Because she is, or whatever. A little bit more, a little bit more. And I just did it for free just because I love for a while. And then I was like, wow, this is pretty time consuming and I could do much better if I could just, turn this into, an offering in my business. And so that was within 6 months or a year. And over the last 5 years, I think my business has really pivoted from being, events that offers matchmaking to I'm a matchmaker who also offers events. And so it's just all, I mean, I do so many different things. I have so many different opportunities for people. I do blind date activations. I do, dating coaching. I have
Okay, wait. What's a blind date activation? Sorry, I have to ask.
I know. So I run them like for 6 months, right? So right now it's called Match of the Month Blind Date Activation. So you sign up for the course of 6 months. And in that time, I'll send you out on 5 blind dates, but blind dates. Like it's not like with my matchmaking service where I am really, making sure that you align on everything that you really care about. This is like if they're within your age range and your geographical location, that's a date. And then they meet. And then if they go out again, they do. And if they don't, they don't. So that's totally blind dates. And I have sent over the last, I've been doing those probably 3 years, hundreds of blind dates. And you
Has
never
anybody hooked up for like has it?
all these people date, they just, they come and go.
Yeah.
Just the
Wow.
nature of
That's
single.
awesome.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
just try to create different opportunities. There's literally someone for everyone in every age, stage, level of availability, people who are, just getting divorced that really need more of like a coaching aspect. I also have my 4-day flip, it's a totally self-guided program for women who are, a lot of women who are just getting divorced do that. And really it's just like everything that I learned after I got divorced and navigated myself from this wide open space to really intentionally dating and enjoying it again. And like you were saying before, just about enjoying your life, right? With every stage, dating can be exhausting and disheartening. And, you can focus on, it triggering you that you don't have somebody or, just like, what are you missing? But this 4-day flip is really just like 4 days or 4 weeks or however long you want it to take you that just transforms the way that you feel about this process. And, by the end, you have found the one and the one is you. So that's there's something that I offer literally for everybody.
There's something to that whole thing of there is the one and the one is you. It's like if you are looking for a job, you're much more attractive to employers if you're already employed.
Mhm.
You're right. If and same like I think there's a certain attraction that comes when somebody's already matched up with somebody, right? Like it's an energy thing. And if you are that person for yourself, then you've got that attractive energy going because you're in love with yourself,
Totally. It
right?
makes all the difference. Confidence is key, especially I think for men. Like to me, there is nothing less attractive than a man who is not confident and secure. Very hard to match that man. Very hard. So that's sometimes we just draw it back a little bit. Like maybe we're not quite ready for dates. Maybe we should just work on your confidence a little bit and do some like role play dates and that type of thing. I'll be your hype man, like hype you up. Let's go over, review all the great things about you that you have to offer. And so that you can be confident, like, oh wait, yeah, I am, as people go through all these different times in their life where it's hard to remember, right? We're just constantly going and you're feeling insufficient, and
Mhm.
especially with online everything, right? It's like comparison is the thief of joy in every aspect. And it really is true. It's like if you're constantly looking at social media, comparing like these happy relationships and these thriving businesses and these sparkly clean social media accounts, and just it just sweeps the joy right out of what you're doing. And so,
Absolutely. I call it comparanoia.
oh,
And
I
I
love
think everybody falls prey to it. You know, you look and you have to remember that what you're seeing is curated.
totally.
When people are only going to show you what they want you to see. That's on social
Mhm.
media, that's in life. Hey, how you doing?
Mhm.
Oh, everything's great. Everything, blah blah blah. And you never know what's going on for somebody.
Right.
It's
Well,
so but
don't
we
you have
all
to have
do compare.
patience though, Yvonne? You have to have some patience, I think, that when you're in this process, because I've known women who they latch on to one guy that they kind of sort of maybe like, and they won't let this person go, and they're not even their fit. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I think you have to know what it is you're looking for, and speaking to your heart. And you've already been through something. You don't want to go through that again. So you already know what you don't want. But I only said that to say that I went 18 months without a date. I started going on dates with myself.
Yeah. Me
How
too.
pathetic is that? I started going to the movies. I started going to dinner by myself because I was like, okay, because I wasn't willing to settle. Okay. I wasn't willing to settle. And I said, that's okay. I'm just going to go do this stuff by myself. And accidentally met my husband to be.
No, I love it. Honestly, that is not pathetic. That is like a homework assignment. It's like date yourself. Do it. Take yourself out to dinner. I take myself out to dinner all the time. I'm
Mhm.
in the mood for a martini. I don't have a date. I still go have a martini. I do my thing. Have to.
Yeah. And I just think it's important to, you have to like being with you. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Do you like you? Because if you don't like you, then who else is going to like you? So
So
I think you have to really work on you a little bit. And then that tends to vibrate outwards. And then all of a sudden you get that attraction, I
yeah,
think.
it's that energy thing.
I agree.
And if you're pursuing like the things that interest you and you're just going and doing what you enjoy, that's when you may meet somebody who's interested in the same thing as you. You go to a meetup that's not even about dating, and all of a sudden there's somebody in front of you that you would have swiped past immediately maybe on a dating app, but
Mhm.
you've had a conversation with them that had no pressure, that had no expectations, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, what a nice, oh, she's cool, he's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you. Do you ever work with non-heteronormative people? Are you doing matchmaking for homosexuals? Are you doing any other kind of
Yeah.
anything?
I definitely I have and I will. I have also in the alliance, in the Matchmakers Alliance, there are a few colleagues that specifically work with that community. And so in certain circumstances, I mean, they would have like a wider network to connect them with. So
Right.
sometimes I'll just refer them out. But yeah,
That makes sense.
I
That's pretty
will,
cool.
yeah, I will work with anyone, of course. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, not anyone. We have to be a match,
Right.
but first match with a matchmaker.
Have
That
you
is
been invited to any weddings of couples that you put together and they went the whole distance,
So
so to
I
speak?
have, it's like I think my second event, there's a couple, but this is 5 years and they're still engaged. I'm like, guys, come on. I need this. Pull the trigger already.
I need a case study, people.
So many, exactly. There's been so many people that I've met. There's actually one of my favorite stories is there's a guy that came to an event and he was leaving the event. He had a good time, but he didn't meet anybody really that sparked anything for him. He was walking to his car, and then there was a woman getting into the car next to him. And it was actually, he recognized her. It was like his high school sweetheart. And they hadn't seen each other in 20 something years. And they started talking and they ended up going to the place next door and having a drink together. And they're now married with a baby. And, but it's just about that connection. It's like, I always, when people start working with me, I'm like, portal's open. You hang on to your hat because things are changing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I just got the shivers from that one because that's just the universe, like, making things happen, right? But what is it? Chance favors the prepared or something like that. Like, you have to get yourself out in the world in some way, even
Yeah.
if you're introverted. Like, it needs to be in a way that works for you, but you've got to put yourself at, and this is, I think, true of way beyond dating, way beyond anything. If there's something you want, yeah, the answer is always no if you don't ask,
Mhm.
and the answer is always going to be a big no if you never open the door to possibilities.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true. Got to get out there. No, he's not going to knock on your door, most likely.
Jill, what do you think of a lot of women will not date a person because of, and I'm going to use my husband, for instance. He was very much into comic books and all of this other stuff.
Mhm.
And a lot of women be like, oh, I no, because I'm not into that.
Yeah,
And I feel as though you can have a lot in common, but it's that what you don't have in common that keeps you together.
right.
And so rather than me saying, oh, I don't want anything to do with that, I started saying, okay, well, what is this? You know, my husband would say, let's go to a movie. And I'll say, and I'm like, okay, he would have to give me the backstory on a character, you know, but
Oh,
I just played into that part of who he is so I could understand it a little bit.
yeah.
And a lot of people think you have to have everything in common, and that is so boring. And I don't think that keeps you together.
I agree. And I don't think that even if you decided that, those movies are just for him, like you go and you do your
Mhm.
own thing on the nights that he goes to those movies, you don't need to have everything in common with your
Mhm.
partner. And as a matter of fact, it's probably healthy to not, to have your own, a couple of things that are separate. And, I think especially dating in midlife, um, it makes, you have to come to it with the perspective that everybody is coming already with an established life. They already have their own home or their kids or their preferences on things or the way that they, some people won't leave a dish in the sink and some people prefer to. Everybody's coming to the table with stuff already, with an ex-wife or with a whatever. And truthfully, if they're coming to the table with no baggage or opinions or passions in midlife, that's not really a
That's
true.
a sign.
It's like,
Here's your
what rock have you
sign.
been under?
Everybody's already coming, not it's not like when people met in their 20s or in their teens and it's like you sort of form who you are together.
Hmm.
Different dating, and those are not the people that are coming to me. Obviously, teenagers are not hiring me. Early 20s, they're not hiring me, but they don't need to. Or I have been contacted by 24, 25. I'm like, go to the bar. You don't need me. Go meet somebody, go to a party. But, when people already are established adults, you can expect that you're not going to align on everything, and that's okay.
Yeah, and as you get older, you may be past going to the bar.
Yeah,
That's like kind of like I ain't hanging out in bars. I don't want to hang out in bar. I don't even like to drink anymore. It just doesn't feel good.
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But to have other interests, and to explore who you are and what those other interests are, that's, I'll say, sexy. I have to go back to something that you said about, Amazon's great, but it's great to go into the retail store and you get to, I think you said you get to feel it and see if you want to take it home. And I thought that's pretty
yeah.
much that's pretty much
Example.
it, isn't it?
Yeah, I did that for you. That was a plan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jill, this has been amazing. I think we're coming close to our ending time, aren't we, Kat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. This has been amazing. Where can people find you, Jill, if they need your matchmaking help?
Yeah, jillinit.com. Jill in it, because I'm involved in all of it. So jillinit.com is where you find me, or hello@jillinit.com. You can email me.
Love it. Love it. And what did I want to say? Oh, I lost it. I lost what I was going to say. I will say that we are going to be back on February 16th. The same spots you're watching us now. We're going to continue on with this theme of love in February. And the next topic that we're talking about is loving yourself all year round. And I think that very much matches up with a lot of the things that we were talking about today. Anything else that you want to say before we close this puppy up, Miss Kat or Jill? Any final thoughts?
I think it's always fascinating to me, this subject. My husband likes to speak about, something happened to one of us that, we wouldn't date. And, it takes a lot of effort. It
Yeah.
really does. But I think that if you hang in there, you find that person you're supposed to be with.
Definitely.
I really, truly believe. And I believe I'm a huge believer in love. I am.
Me too.
And I, like you, Jill, I love love. Anytime I see a movie and it's all gushy and I'm just like, oh my God, it's so cute.
Yeah.
And so I just think that, I think it's harder, but I think, just have some patience.
Yep. Yeah. You got to hang in there, put yourself out there. And, like you said, you have to love yourself first. So that's step one. Love yourself. And then when enjoy your life. And when somebody comes along that is worthy of the space next to you, you already have created the life that you want to share with them.
And you can meet them anywhere. They could be anywhere, but you have to be there in order to find them.
Yeah. You have to look up. Look
yes.
up. Yeah. Shoulders back, eyes open, look around.
Eyes open. Yeah. Smile.
I just realized I'm doing it.
Like,
smile at a stranger.
Well, Jill, this has been a fascinating conversation. I'm so glad that you came on as a guest. And as Yvonne said, we'll be back in a couple weeks and talking about loving yourself all year. I like that one too. So till next time, everybody. Bye. Salty Sisters signing off.